Okay, so welcome to the Will Davis training video number 2, where I'll be comparing a key difference between the low bar squat, which you can see in this video here, to the high bar squat, which is also referred to as the Olympic squat, which is just coming up in this video right here. So as the name suggests, the reason why the squat is either a high bar or a low bar is simply down to the bar position on the lifter's back. So in the low bar squat, the bar is positioned much lower down the back. It's actually resting on top of the spine of the scapula. And this will shorten the moment arm between the bar and the lifter's hips, so it will allow for much greater loads to be lifted. But for anyone who's watching this video and who's read the book Starting Strength, you'll know that this isn't the actual reason why we use this bar position. In a low position, in order for the lifter to maintain the weight of the bar over the balance point, so that's the midfoot, and will allow for correct technique, the lifter has to accommodate about a 45-degree back angle. And as you can see right in the bottom portion of the lift, just about here, it'll put a great stretch on the hip extensors. And also with this style of squat, you don't tend to squat all the way down. You just go down to a point where the top of the thighs just break parallel. So the knees don't go through a position of full flexion. So that means that the hamstrings won't get fully shortened in the bottom position, and they're going to be under a stretch along with the gluteus maximus and the adductor magnus. So the hamstrings are going to get a much greater involvement during the concentric portion of the lift. Now the high bar squat, the bar is positioned on top of the trapezius. So in order for the lifter to maintain the weight of the bar over the balance point, the lifter will have a much more upright spine position. And this will straight away limit a lot of people from doing this lift, because in order to maintain the upright back position, you need to have quite a good degree of thoracic extension. So for anyone who's stuck behind a desk all day at work and is stuck in that spinal flexion position, they're going to struggle to perform this lift correctly just simply because they lack adequate spinal mobility. Now in the bottom position of the high bar squat, the lifter will tend to go all the way down, and this is what we would refer to as an arse to grass squat. Now in this position, the knees go through a complete knee flexion, so that means that the hamstrings are going to be shortened distally at the knee joint. And since they're shortened at the knee joint, it means their involvement during the concentric portion of the lift will be somewhat smaller than the low bar squat. However, the quadriceps are going to be under a greater deal of stretch because of the greater degree of knee flexion. So that makes the high bar squat much more suitable for increasing the recruitment and involvement of the quadriceps muscles, and the low bar squat much more superior at recruiting the posterior chain muscles. And also because of the greater loads that can be lifted in the low bar squat, it makes it a much more superior lift for increasing maximal strength.